think.
I think Ibrahim,
Yeah,
you're
it
mute.
look like we're recording now. Yes.
Okay, okay. Should I start again? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is our first UCOMM Careers Forum, and we intend to have one every couple of weeks, touching on various careers that young people might be interested in. So the purpose of this program is to give an insight into different professions that the young members of the community might be interested in pursuing. And we intend to run these sessions all the way through to December, maybe every 2 weeks, depending on the response that we have. But tentatively, we're planning on having them every 2 weeks. So this afternoon, we have 3 different speakers from the various professions. We have Mohammed Ntambi, who's a software engineer working for, is it Air Logic? Consultant, Air Logic consultant in the NHS. We have Homegrown here in Rochdale and Manchester. We also have Ibrahim Tambi, software engineer, FDM Group, consultant at Charles River Laboratories. He's also a part-time engineer of bricks. I always have to add that. We also have Mr. Frank Tumusime, who's a senior scientist at Nanoco Technologies Limited. So he's going to give us an insight into his type of engineering. Engineering is a very complicated subject, very involved, and hopefully we'll get a little bit of insight into it this afternoon. So over to our first speaker, who is Mohammed Ntambi. Mohammed.
Thank you, Atrahman. Hi, my name is Mohammed. Currently, I work for a company called Air Logic, and they do consultancy for the NHS. My job title is I'm a developer. I do web development. I also do mobile application development, as well as sometimes backend work. As I did computer science at University of Salford. Did 4 years of it, one which was a sandwich year, whereby I went to Stockport Council and did a placement year there, which gave me that kind of experience in the field itself, which helped me get my first job. At the moment, I started off working for a company called Veristar, which I worked there for 7 months. Then I left. But it wasn't due to what I was doing. It was mostly due to the inconvenience of actually getting there. It took me 2 hours to get there and 2 hours back. She was a bit farther. The transport was too much as well in terms of payment. I used to take 2 trains as well as a tram. So I decided to pursue somewhere else, and that's where I went to Air Logic, which is based in Manchester City Centre. The company itself is a consultancy, so they hold developers, and depending on the clients they have, they can send you to different clients. At the moment, I'm based in Christie NHS Foundation, whereby they're upgrading their current software systems to use more modern tech stacks. The project I've been put on first. I've worked there for going into a year now. The project I'm currently working on is called Workflow, which is it's automating the monitoring of cancer patient checkups. So let's say a clinician gets a cancer patient and they've tested positive. So usually what they will do is come up with a timeline on certain tests, whether it's chemotherapy or radiotherapy, and a time period when it has to be done. But that at the moment, that is kind of a manual work, and it has to be done by the clinician that's assigned to that particular patient. What we're doing at the moment is trying to automate that and allow clinicians to focus on something else, while we just need the details and the stage they are at, and then we automate the whole process, and we added some extra functionality in there to remind patients themselves. For example, if you missed an appointment, you receive a text message or an email telling you you've missed this particular appointment. We'll book you a new one. Please don't miss it. That's at the moment. That's what I'm working on at the moment. Apart from that as well, they're also upgrading their patient search systems. At the moment, they're using a very old tech stack. So that will be the next part to my, after the workflow project is complete, we're improving how they search patients. At the moment, it takes quite a while. Let's say you are able to search for a patient by a surname or a phoneme. If you don't get very accurate spelling of it, you're not going to receive any sort of results. And you know, the Christie holds thousands and thousands of data, patient data, and at the moment we're trying to get some fuzzy matching into it, so we receive faster search results as well as more accurate search results for people who search for patients. I guess that's kind of an overview of what I do.
I was going to interrupt a little bit, and thanks by the way for the intro, Mohammed. It's when you mentioned, for example, the company you work for, the project name, and whatever.
Yeah.
I work in an environment where sometimes that information is you're not allowed to give it out. So I was just interested to see. I was just interested to maybe know if that's okay, if you're safe, you know.
Yeah. I am
doing that.
I'm not supposed to reveal any sort of patient data, but I can reveal what projects I am working on and what we're trying to achieve. But
Yeah,
I can't reveal any patient information, of course.
Yeah.
So
no, that's very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. And I don't know what format we're going to take, Ibra, if maybe you can give us some guidance, but you could say I would have liked to have known a little bit more how you got there, any challenges for the young ones on the Zoom session today, and maybe some you could say ways around any challenges that you have found, and maybe because sometimes you get into something one way, but then later on you maybe say, actually maybe it's easier going another way, and then you can advise, if you like, people going forward. So maybe I don't know if it's now or later, give us a little bit of that.
Yeah, definitely. I think with all of us that kind of go from college, then university and so on, I think the biggest problem is actually choosing what you want to do, because there's so much options thrown at you and you have to decide. And it's harder to actually make a decision than go through with it. So the first part, you have to choose what you want. You choose what you want and you stick by it. Because if you kind of, let's say I choose to do biomedical science and I get to my second year university and I decide, okay, you know what? I don't want to do biomedical science anymore. I want to do something else. You're going to have to you go through a process to be able to change your course. And of course, if you are funded by student finance, those years count. You're going to rank up even more debt, because they count those 2 years which you did, and you also from the very beginning, which the new course you're going to get, they're going to count those years on top of that. So with anything, especially when you're choosing a career path, is the decision itself. I would say some of the challenges.
So is it being sure about where you want to go? But isn't that also a challenge in itself? Because of course my boy is younger, maybe at a younger stage, but he's 14, and even just choosing what they're going to have or do at is it GCSE?
Yeah.
In itself is is a challenge. Of course, you sit there as a parent and you're trying to guide them, and then they want something else, but you can tell it's very, very difficult. And in the end, you just hope for the best, make a choice and hope it's the right one, you know.
I suppose.
I mean, sorry, is it okay for me to shout in?
You can, yes.
I think, thank you for the presentation, Ibrahim. Mohammed. I think one of the challenges is getting some work experience before you actually make the decision. So I always advise parents that if your child wants to do software engineering, for example, please do something when they're 12, 13, 14 to partner them up with a software engineer, and they go and spend a week with that person. And they see what that person does. That makes a huge difference to that person's decision. So I think one of the things that we do as parents, particularly Black parents, is if a child says, I want to do nursing, we just say, okay, fine, your decision made. But we don't actually say, will that person actually be a good nurse? Will that person actually enjoy nursing? So if a child says, I want to do nursing, please, the minute they mention it, go and find a nurse or a nursing profession and partner that child with a nurse, spend 10 days, that child spends 10 days in that profession, and they will certainly be better informed. And I think that's what we need to do. So Ibrahim, hopefully, Mohammed will be one of those software engineers who will be saying, yep, I'm putting my hands up, please bring your 14-year-old, 12-year-old, whatever, and they spend time with me.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't mind anyway at the moment with the whole pandemic situation going on. Obviously, I'm always at home, and you know, if I could even do coding sessions with kids, if he's interested and truly want to pursue it. And you know, we can't say that you're always going to get it right, but at least put that effort in to see if you are leading the right path and you actually love what you do. And that's one thing about for those that would pursue a career in engineering or software engineering, you kind of have to love what you do, because sitting on a computer all day is not the most fun thing to do. But however, if you have passion for it and you love it, you know, and you're interested in problem solving, it's definitely something you'll enjoy. But having said that, like Auntie Rahima said, that encouragement of the child and, you know, pairing them and putting them in a situation whereby they can learn and see exactly what happens in that field. Because sometimes we get an abstract view of what's actually going on in that field and say, you know what, you know, I like it, I'm just gonna go for it. And you actually get there and it's not what you expected. And you get discouraged of the whole thing. And yeah, definitely I'll agree with that.
I wanted to ask Mohammed, so what makes a good software engineer? So what characteristics will the child, young person need to have to be a good software engineer?
Definitely, well, there's the academic aspect of it, which is you need to be good at mathematics. And the other aspect is you need to love it. You need to actually be enthusiastic, you need to be happy about it, and also you need to put effort in. The thing with software engineering is the tech sector moves from 0 to 100 in like seconds. There's always something new coming out and you cannot afford to get left behind, so you constantly have to learn. Even the software seniors above me, they're constantly going to these webinars, they're constantly going to these conferences to learn about the latest thing. Because if you stay stagnant, someone is going to surpass you, and when someone surpasses you, that means you're going backwards and they're going ahead of you. And I think the biggest thing which is a challenge in the field itself is techie people tend to be arrogant about what they know, and they're not willing to listen to any alternatives. So you need to have a strong backbone as well and defend your
I can
solution.
see Ibra's nodding there, going, yeah.
You know, especially the seniors, you know, or you know, he's just came out university, he's got a year, you know, 1 year experience. What does he know? You know, go with this, or you know, so you have to, and you get that confidence through your own effort. If you're lacking on a particular skill, you know, there's millions and millions of YouTube tutorials online. Go for it. Go and learn. And next time you come back, you probably know something that he doesn't know, and you earn his respect. And you don't. And there's this thing that goes around where you get labeled easily. If you mess up something, especially if it's a live environment and you mess it up, you know, you're gonna take time for them to gain their trust again, because you don't put something live down over a silly mistake or something. So you need
in my world, we tend to say you don't graduate until you've messed up. You know, you mess a live environment up, and that is your graduation.
Yeah.
But it sounds like what you're saying really is the is it overarching? Is that the right word? Thing over being a developer maybe is a love for finding solutions or problem solving. You know, because you're forever finding solutions to little things. You know, how can we automate that, or how can we make that quicker, or how can we, you know, and you've got to have, I guess, a love for such a thing. Those little challenges, you know, this is hard, can you make it quicker? Yeah, I'll take it on. I'll come back to you in a day or two or something like that. I'll have something for you in whatever. That's what software developers tend to do.
And you must like a challenge as well. And basically, the biggest thing here is that don't sit on your back and only know what you're learning at work. You need to go out of your way and learn more. Because if you're only learning skills which you are at your current position, if you were to get laid off, or if you were to move on yourself, you need to have other skills which you can apply to the new position. And the sector we're in, a lot of people can even get into this top position through online lessons and online tutorials, because it's not hard to get there. It's you need to have that extra push to go above and beyond what you're learning at the moment. And
good. So I guess the message there for the young people listening to us is that you need to almost motivate yourself and go out there and look for the information that is out there to better yourself and keep developing yourself. You've got to keep motivating yourself to do that if you want to do better, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah. Good. Thank you. I don't know if there's any more questions for Mohammed, or anything else from yourself, Mohammed, before we maybe move on.
Did I answer your question, Andrew, about what skills you need to be a software developer? Because I kind of rumbled on, but did I kind of get to the point?
She's still with us.
Hopefully, maybe she's on mute.
She is. She's probably at the beach now.
Sorry, Frank, I didn't quite hear you.
Personally, what I would be interested in, or what I think young students would be interested in, would want to know what subjects you did at A-levels and what grades are required to do your kind of course.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Yeah.
So I did at college. I did software computer science at Bury sixth form, and I was required to get into university. I did BTech, and I got D-star, but the course itself was required DDD to get into the course itself. It does require a mathematics GCSE, so it has to be a C and above. Also, you're required an English GCSE, it has to be a C and above to get into the university that I got into anyway. Depending on the university you're going for, the requirements might differ. But if you're going through the software route, it's better to start it from college itself, because there was a lot of people that didn't do mathematics or any related course to mathematics or computer science itself. They tend to struggle at the very beginning to get up to speed of what's actually going on, especially the technical aspects of things. So if you are looking to pursue a career in this path, start from even high school. If you have options, choose IT software development or something that's related to IT, and do it in college as well, because you have a head start on the people that kind of transition into the IT sector. Not to say that it's bad. However, if you were to do it from the very beginning, you're gonna have a step above the people that did something else, definitely.
Good. There's talk of universities being, what's the word, vetted, if you like, if for lack of a better word, or put on a, people basically choose to give you a job or not, depending on what university you went to, or some universities apparently are looked at as being better than others. Did you experience any of that when you were trying to get into the working environment?
Personally, I did not experience that. However, it does exist. What I found mostly is to employers, when I had my interviews, they were really interested in what I've done and what I'm doing, other than what I got
in school.
So I suppose getting a good grade or coming from university that a prestige is fantastic. You know, it's there and you can't ignore it. The top opportunities look at that stuff, you know, and not to ignore it. However, what I would say is, if you are doing a course at university and there's an opportunity for you to go out on the field and get experience, definitely take that opportunity.
Counts more.
Yeah, it counts more, because you turn up to an interview and they look at your CV, and the first thing they're going to look at would be the experience column. And they will ask you, okay, oh, you went to a placement year and you did a year at the industry. What did you do? And that's when what did you do? It's important, because then you have something to talk about in the interview, and you have that year of experience. Having said that, the university, I do know people or companies that do look at that stuff. If you have an opportunity and you have the grades to go to a more prestigious university, go for it. You know, it will look fantastic on your CV, but don't also ignore the experience
side.
Yeah, because most of the interviews you go to, there's a test, and they give you a test and you have to do it. It's fantastic knowing the theoretical aspects, but you also need to know the practical aspects of things.
Yeah.
So
okay.
The experience gives you that.
Yeah. Good. Thank you very much, Mohammed. I think we've maybe spent as much as we can spend on that one. We need to move on to our next speaker. But thank you very much for the insight there. I'm assuming there was no more interactions. Maybe we can pick up some questions at the end, if indeed there is any. Okay. Next speaker is
Ibrahim.
Ibrahim.
Yes.
Please go ahead, Ibrahim.
Thank you, Chair.
Rema, it's good to have you back. We thought we'd lost you.
No, I've been on throughout actually. Nabadde
Okay,
ngenda
good.
kubuuza about agambye grade C naye kati ate kye nabadde ngenda okubuuza naye I'm assuming we can put it in the
Yeah,
chat
let's.
kubanga kati balina 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 over whatever tebakyalina those grades ekyo kye nabadde ngenda okubuuza naye
We'll
let's
pick that
get
up later. Yes.
with the next speaker.
Yeah.
Okay, Ibrahim, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and Mrs. Amanda. For most people who do not know me, my name is Ibrahim Tambi, and I am a software engineer by profession, actually. So my education, so where I started, I went to Barry College, finished there, and then went to University of Salford, and I studied mechanical engineering. So I did not take, the path that Mohammed did. So I did mechanical engineering, and then at the end of my second year, I did a year in industry at Yepsan Defense and Aerospace in Turkey from, in 2015 to 2016. So it was a year-long internship where I worked on different projects. So at that company, anyways, during that time, interns were, they were doing rounds across different departments. So I worked on different projects, helicopter simulator, cooling systems. I did some work on that, and also did a lot of computer-aided designs on sheet metal parts for aeroplanes. And then graduated in 2017. I looked for a job in mechanical engineering for about 2 months, and then an opportunity came around to work for Talk Talk. Give me a moment here. Sorry. Yeah, I went and started working for Talk Talk Group in Salford at Soapworks. And my main job there was, my role was that of voice network designer specialist. So all I would do would, part of my roles would be to, to perform network design impact assessments, and also produce voice network design documentation for voice products.
So
and
nothing to do with
services and architecture.
aerospace.
Absolutely nothing to do with aerospace. So I had to learn at the job. I had to read all these legacy technology books. In fact, I still have a couple of them here. I can show you. They are my Bibles right here. I read these in 7 months' time.
Wow.
All of these had to catch up because it was a senior role actually. So the internship that I did at Turkey was valued a lot at that time. Anyways, so my boss at the time decided to hire me, and he believed in me. So I did study, and then I got my certifications. That cemented my role in the, in voice networks at Talk Talk. Worked there for a year and a bit.
But I guess, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I guess the key thing in there is you have gone to university on something else. You've done all your internships in something else. You've come out and had an opportunity outside of what you were doing. But you still had the resolve and the courage and the determination to actually pick that up as well and run with it as an opportunity, and almost change career within 12 months.
Most definitely. The thing, I always say this story, my brothers know this, and so do my sisters. I always say this.
I think you've told me bits of it, but for those listening, it's important to remember that that's an option as well. You don't have to stick to what you went to college or university for.
What you get from university is a letter which validates your employability.
Yeah.
That's the way I've always looked at my degree certificate obviously there are some roles, for example, you can't do mechanical engineering and then move into medicine or like that. Obviously, no. Yeah. But some roles, some degrees can get you into certain places if you're willing to do the work, and become a better engineer, because this was also an engineering, it wasn't necessarily an engineering role. I was just overseeing the engineers themselves. So I used to do the designs for the voice networks. So for those who don't know what voice networks are, so the landline phones, so the phones that you have from your internet service provider, from like BT, Sky. So I used to design those networks for calls. So even when you used to make, when you make payments over the phone and they ask you to enter the numbers, we had to protect all those numbers because that's all data flowing over a network. So we had to apply, different, encryption. Like Mohammed said, always be on your toes. Ofcom is always putting out new regulations, so they always have to be implemented, and they always give you a window. If you do not implement them within that time, you suffer the penalties, which can be enormous, ranging from like 300,000 a month. That's how much TalkTalk was being penned out. That's how much TalkTalk was being penned out. I don't know.
Penalized.
Penalized.
But that's that's not for you, the engineer. That's for the business.
That's for the business.
That's to scare some young people off of engineering.
Yeah. No, that wasn't me. But anyways, I did that for a year, and then I moved on to. I really did enjoy that job. I did get a redundancy at a year and 2 months. And then I was like, then what? And then I decided to train in software engineering in Leeds at this company called FDM.
So Mohammed celebrating there, going, we got you in.
It wasn't his idea, by the way. It was never his idea, but he did actually help me a lot.
I was happy.
So my IT knowledge is, somewhat well encompassed, despite not going to, despite not doing anything IT related in university. So in that, I'm proud. And that knowledge over the different knowledge I've accumulated over the different career paths that I've tried is hugely enormous and hugely validating to me as a person. Makes me strong anytime I try to embark on a different challenge. It's really amazing. So I trained at FDM for 6 months, doing software engineering, going through a series of tests. It was very rigorous, doing a lot of interview skills. And then I got placed at the end of my training. I got placed in, at Charles River Laboratories. So the work I do at Charles River Laboratories is basically designing web application solutions for the scientists to do their work and making their work easier, well automated, not doing calculations they don't have to. All they have to do is just enter numbers, and then I organize that data and put it in the database. And then when they want to view it, I bring it out. I bring it out and display it in a way that is easier to understand. And that is what I do. One of the main challenges I did face, in particular, switching from mechanical engineering. Mechanical engineering is like the father of all engineering, honestly, of all engineering disciplines. It is. So it's the engineering You might disagree, but he actually is.
No,
Yeah,
but actually, I mean, I remember growing up, an engineer
yeah,
was a mechanical engineer. You know,
yeah,
these
exactly.
days in IT, we all call ourselves engineers. Everyone has engineer on their title, but
BT
and some,
engineer.
yeah, exactly, and so,
The BT
and
engineer.
some people, yeah,
Yeah,
some people will think, oh, he is an engineer,
yeah,
thinking mechanical
yeah.
engineer of some sort.
Unfortunately, you know, in the UK, uh, unfortunately in the UK, and you know, the title engineer is not protected, so anybody could actually call themselves an engineer. But if you go outside of the UK, yeah, you go to Germany, and then you call yourself an engineer, you end you see 10 years in jail, my friend.
Is that right?
Yeah, for real.
Wow.
Engineering is a lot harder to get into than medicine in Germany. It's a lot harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the we had some German students who would constantly tell us this, like it's a lot harder to get into engineering there.
Okay.
But
But in the UK,
yes,
our chair can call herself a pharmaceutical engineer, basically.
most definitely, and she'll be now all within her right. But so, anyways, as I was saying, one of the main some of the main challenges that I faced was to change the way of thinking, of actually problem solving. In mechanical engineering, you know, we solve using, you know, different equations. The problems are almost similar, and the solutions are kind of standardized. You know, everybody can, you know, as an engineer can say, okay, the only way you can solve this is actually if you use this equation or look at this problem in this manner. So the different avenues of solving a problem are limited, right? But when I went into software engineering, oh Lord, it was so hard to get, you know, to break into their way of thinking, because I was thinking in a totally different way. But the way of thinking, you're more expressive in your, you know, you know, in your solutions. The code that you write is, you know, is actually a representation of your thinking process. So
Okay.
the code is as smart as you are, as the person who wrote it. Yeah. So somebody could solve a
There can
problem
be a
with the
negative there. There can be a negative. Yeah.
yeah.
The code is as smart as the person who wrote it, or as bad, basically.
No, it is true. That is the line. That is true.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
And the more you know, the more you learn about a technology, this, you know, the smarter your code gets. Honestly, because then you do not have to declare some things that are irrelevant. So yeah, that was the main challenge that I faced. With regards to the jobs, there are plenty of jobs going around. As long as you're on your toes and, you know, constantly learning, constantly improving, technology is an ever-changing, you know, industry. So that would be
Especially
it for
now
me.
with COVID, I guess the development space is busy, you know, finding solutions to different things.
Yeah, well, yeah. In fact, actually, Charles River is actually working on a COVID drug. That's why I'm never ever going back to Edinburgh. By the way, yes, my offices are best in Edinburgh, but I was given the opportunity to work from home, so I work from this room that you see here. This is my desk, and
Good.
every morning I wake up 9 o'clock. I'm always on my desk, and then pick up a task, work on that, and that'll be it. I find it, you know, it's I find it validating that every single day I wake up to a different solution. Yeah, unless I didn't get to solve it the day before. Yeah, but every single time I'm working on something completely different. That is so rewarding. You know, Mohammed talked about you know, sitting at the desk. It's not necessarily sitting at the desk. I see you know, picking up a task a different task, a different, problem to solve. It's like a puzzle. At times you actually get caught at the table just because you are enjoying what you're doing, not necessarily sitting at the desk. Nobody likes sitting at the desk.
But you're sat at the desk. He's right. You're sat at the desk.
Perhaps the wrong choice of words there.
Yeah, that's it. If you have any questions.
Yeah. Any questions? Because I'm trying to make it interactive so that there's maybe no need for so many questions. But if anyone has anything to come in with, please do. Rahim, are you still there? She'll join us, I guess, in a bit. I'm going.
Sorry, I had muted myself and I didn't know how to. Sorry, I had muted myself. I didn't know how to unmute. Me, I have two questions for Ibrahim. Number one, why did he? I know he was made redundant and all of that, but why, if he had managed to pursue a 3-year degree and did very well in mechanical engineering, why did he not go and pursue that path, continue to pursue that path and then go into software engineering? What were the barriers there? Because someone may do software, mechanical engineering and want to continue and not necessarily want to go into software engineering. So if they hit those barriers, what's the advice? What are the challenges? How can they get around it? The other thing he mentioned was that you need to be continuously studying. Now, continuous studying is not free. So how do you fund the continuous studying? Those are my questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Rema.
Okay.
Sorry, put my hand down. I don't know how to put my hand down now.
Don't worry, I'll mute you now. Okay. First, the first thing was why I chose not to pursue mechanical engineering. Well, I had I was facing, different challenges at the time. And when this opportunity came around, okay, first let me give a background. Mechanical engineering, depending on who hires you, you could work for Nissan, you could work for Airbus, all these, big companies. You could work for them, Jaguar, all of them. There are plenty. However, the job market is kind of saturated at the moment. And
what's that? Is there too many of them?
Too many applicants.
Okay.
With those kind of degrees, although you can still get it.
Opportunities are limited.
The opportunities are limited, but no. I wouldn't actually. I'll take that back. Because it's not just those companies. Yeah, those are the ones that everybody tries to go for, right?
Yeah.
But there are so many different startups. Yeah. That you could go working for, but like I said, depending on where you want to start, that's where the wage will be. For example, those who are at Jaguar or Nissan, they go started at 30K. At Airbus, it was 28K a year, right? And the one for these other startups, they offer like 25, 22. So no, not 25, 20, 18. And basically the wage is not great. So while I was in the midst of all that and applying for these roles, some of them offering me jobs, but I would have to move out. And I wasn't ready to make such a commitment. So I decided against it. And then this opportunity came around at Talk. And I was joining as a junior, but the salary was, very high. And and basically by the mere sight of that, I was like, you know what? I don't owe mechanical engineering anything.
So I guess the answer to Brehma's question is,
Yes.
one, personal circumstances,
Yeah.
but two, it looks like the wage and the reward in the
In
IT
the IT
engineering
industry.
space
Yeah.
was more attractive to you at the time, and maybe forced you to go into mechanical engineering.
Yes. For the
And I guess
mechanical
that
engineering
shouldn't,
graduates, they can still get jobs without
yeah.
a
So
shadow
that
of a
shouldn't
doubt.
discourage the others, yeah.
That shouldn't discourage the others. It depends on how much of a passion you have. But also speaking to those in the industry, the problems are that, for example, the school curriculum or the university curriculum that we always have, where you can, let's say, design something, of your own. Yeah, basically being so flexible in your design, introducing your own ideas. In mechanical engineering, things are standard, right? When I worked at Yepsan, we had sheet metal parts going all the way back to the 18 something. Yeah, this thing was designed then, 19 something, 19 or something like that. This was designed then, it's not changing because it works. So all you have to, all you're doing is getting things off the paper and putting them into digital format.
Okay, a bit of repetition.
A little bit of repetition. So that particular, that didn't attract me mostly.
Okay.
I didn't like it, but those are some of the things that you find out after you've made a commitment. Yeah,
true.
to doing the course. So that I didn't like, but also when I joined IT, I found that I'm actually owning this. I can do what I want, right?
More interesting.
It's more interesting and it gives me the
What was
flexibility that I want.
what
The
was the
second
second question? Yeah.
continuous studying.
Oh yeah.
Okay. With IT, there are plenty of resources online. Plenty of resources. You can literally learn everything you need on YouTube.
Yeah.
That is YouTube. There are plenty of teachers there. Yeah. From from actually universities teaching for free on there. We have our friends from India. They have so many courses on there. Honestly, when I say this, there's the resource, the knowledge on there is the magnitude is too much. Yeah.
Yeah, just to add, the people, especially as you reminded me of our friends, colleagues, brothers, sisters from Asia, they do an amazing job on the internet, and even with the language barrier, they have this passion to want to deliver these courses, which is amazingly good, because it's all free. So I guess
free.
the answer to Rehma there is it's free. There's no cost. The only investment is time.
It's only time. It's like honestly, look at it this way. Somebody wants to apply for those of us who have gone through this process, applying for naturalization, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have everything you need. Yeah. The government has provided you with all the information that you need to submit with the application. However, because you are scared and you need a little bit of reassurance, perhaps fearing responsibility, taking on the responsibility, yourself, you go hire a lawyer to do the application for you.
True.
Right, and the lawyer is going to charge you £300. £3,000.
Yeah, or more. Yeah.
Yeah, for an application you can do within 3 hours.
Yeah.
So it is the same documentation that you will submit to the lawyer as you would if you were to do it as an individual to the government. So there are some courses that are that are specialized. Yeah. And some companies, they're like, okay, we are the only ones who deliver this course. Yeah. And the technology they're teaching you
And now
about
we're
is
going
theirs,
straight on.
right? So those you have to pay for them, but most certainly to lay the foundations and to get you into a job and to get you multi-skilled enough to earn all those high wages.
Yeah.
Have the information online. If it's not on YouTube,
Okay.
it's somewhere in the documentation of, of whoever owns that particular
Yeah.
technology
Okay.
stack.
Just to add to that, I would agree with what Ibrahim has said, and just like with anything, there's bad and good sources. So a lot of
I want to. Is that okay?
I think let's mute our chair, please, Ibra. Sorry, go on, Mohammed.
yeah, with anything, especially with so much sources online, there's good sources and bad sources. So if you are going to go on YouTube and learn a new technology or something, make sure the person that you're learning from is credible. And if they have a lot of followers, then that means they're doing something right. What we tend to do sometimes, and notice this with people that don't necessarily have a grounding of university, we pick up bad habits of how to approach problems, and you need to be extremely wary. There's practices in industry, and there's standards that you need to adhere to, and sometimes with YouTube tutorials, in order to make something quick and easy to learn, they will cut corners to get to the solution. So that's one thing you need to be worried about if you're learning. Find a credible source and then learn from there. But in terms of the stuff online, so much, incredible.
Good. Thanks, Mohammed. Good, Rem. I hope that your two questions have been answered there. Rema's probably still on mute. So, I think it's. I'm hoping there is no more questions.
Sorry,
if there is.
Yeah, no, the questions have been answered, and I was just going to thank you very much. I think one of the things is really organizing that information on the internet for somebody to be able to use it. We're going straight on. Sorry, I'm navigating at the same time. I think the key is to really facilitate people to organize that information, and perhaps that is something that Ibrahim could take up. Just to point people in the right direction. I think that's the right way to go about it, and that's why they hire a lawyer to be able to point them in the right direction. I was going to ask if we could move to our next speaker. Is that okay, Mr. Samanda?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we are moving to the next one. So yes, and our next speaker is Mukulu Frank. Please carry on. I think you're on mute.
Mr. Frank Tumusime?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank Ibra and Mohammed for the input. I think this is a very special session today. For me personally, I think it's very special because we're having two young Black Ugandans in professionals, which this is achieved what we want. We want to show people that Ugandan and Black people from BME can do a degree and get a job. I think Ibra and Muhammad and me, we're proving that we're trying to showcase, or at least give some kind of tell people that it's possible. So for me, I think I'm very happy that we're giving this information out. This is the information I would have liked here when I was a student, when I was doing my A-level. You get more ideas on what I can do. So anyway, on me personally, I'm a chemist. I studied chemistry with medicinal chemistry at the University of Manchester, and I worked in my first job as a synthetic organic chemist for a pharmaceutical company, doing research, basically research for drug development. And I'm currently working as a senior scientist in a nanotechnology company, engineering company, but they use chemistry as a background. So today I'm here to talk about the benefits of studying core subjects. I think core subjects, which are biology, mathematics, physics, and chemistry, they're underlooked by our people. They're not done. And personally, I think it's because not many people knows the opportunities that are out there. But the reality is these courses have a lot of opportunities. I'll start with biology, for example. If you do study biology, then, especially in this current situation, you're in very high demand. As a biologist, you have opportunities to be in biology, to be in a biology environment or biopharmaceutical companies. But also you have opportunities because of the knowledge you have of writing and researching, then the skills are desirable by so many companies. So I want people, if you have a student or a youngster who's interested in biology, don't push him to do pharmacy or medicine. Encourage them to do what they want to do because the opportunities are there. My next one would be mathematics. If you have a student, or if you're a student and you're doing A-level, you're doing physics, chemistry, and maths, you can't be good at all three. In most cases, you're good at one, or at least one comes naturally to you. So talk to your child, talk to a career advisor. What options do I get? What can I do if I do a mathematics degree? And the reality is, if you have a mathematics degree, you're highly respected by employers. You can work into finances, you can go into engineering, like Ibra and Mohammed said. If you have mathematics, then you're highly desirable in IT. If you do mathematics, you can be a data scientist. So there's so many career opportunities that people don't know about doing straight core subjects. If you did physics, which is mainly mathematics, then you can do all the jobs that a mathematician does, but you can also go into engineering, like aerospace, you can work for NASA. So I want to let people know that there is a lot of opportunities in core subjects, not push people into engineering, IT, pharmacy, medicine, but that's because that's all we know. But if we can let our children know, if they're very keen on a certain subject, encourage them to do it. So I did chemistry, a straight chemistry degree. Then I did a master's in medicinal chemistry because I was interested in drug design. And it's been an eye-opener on what I can do. There's so many things I can do as a person. So my job as a synthetic chemist, I worked in a pharmaceutical company. Very good research, enjoyable. And I'm still in science. I work for a nanotechnology company, and they do things related to making TVs, for example. So TVs, display is one of the applications we use for. So if you go to Samsung, if you go to Currys and see a QLED TV, I make the colors that make them brighter and also making the pictures clear. So I'm behind making sure that the colors are brighter and they're there. But we work with physicists, we work with mathematicians, and work with biologists. So the application of what we do in Nanoko is they're used in bioimaging. So what I'm coming at is, if your child is very good at a certain subject, encourage them to carry it on. Don't try to push them onto doing something else that they might not be interested in. Find out what they want to do, then encourage them. I think the most important thing, like our chair said, is the internship. If you know your child is interested in a certain subject, find out someone or find out. Literally go on Google and Google, what does a biologist do? What does a chemist do? Then it will bring you all the career options that are available. All these courses, you have to be passionate about the subject and you have to be very good at them. So, for example, in all the subjects, in order to get to university, you need at least an A in that subject. But if you're passionate about it, I don't think an A will be difficult for you to get in. So anyway, my message here today is, if you have a child or if you're a student and you're not sure whether you want to go into engineering or you want to go into pharmacy, look at a core subject you're very good at and then try to pursue that at university. Thank you very much. Any questions?
No, maybe just an observation from me, and I think we've briefly talked about this before, is that I wasn't aware that a chemist would have anything to do with designing TVs. You know, that's interesting, and it's very good to know for everybody else that there is, you know, chemistry involved in things outside of medicine, because that's what you tend to think about, you know.
Yes. I think another thing I could say is, if you have done a core subject, for example, and I'll give a basic example. If you go, for example, today into COVID-19 research laboratory, you would find a chemist, you find a biologist, you find a mathematician, you find a physicist. So the biologist look at the molecular cell and cell biology and the human body works. The chemist design the drugs. The pharmacist get all the data and simulate it and make sure that it's working. And obviously the mathematicians will work with the pharmacist to make the data. So core subjects can put in so many directions. All you have to do is choose what you want to do. And because of the skills you have, you're most likely to be accepted with a little bit of training, obviously. But it's easy to switch career from chemistry. You can go into chemical engineering, you can go into IT, you can go into data analyst. And as a physicist, you can go into engineering, like for aerospace. So my message today anyway is, if your child is interested in a core subject, let them know there is a lot of opportunities out there. Yeah. Don't push them to do something they might not be interested in. And that could contribute actually to dropping out of university, because someone is doing, for example, physics, chemistry, and biology, and he goes into dental because he was good at biology, or he was good at chemistry. So he got all the grades, but he's actually not interested in all three of them. He's only interested in one. So there's opportunities in all core subjects. That's my message today.
Yeah, and to further, you know, emphasize that point, I remember when I was at Talk, none of my colleagues ever did IT. None of them. All you had mathematicians all over. All of them. The whole floor was full of mathematicians and physicists. Yeah. Right. And also while at FDM, going through my training, Faisal can also, you know, attest to this as well. We were actually working with physics, chemistry, biology, biomedical science, everyone from different backgrounds, chemistry, all of them were in IT doing software engineering. So, like I said, that letter from university is only there to tell your you know, prospectus employer.
Yeah, I was wondering, because on my team I have a doctor, a chemistry doctor working as a storage engineer. You know, so this guy has a doctorate in chemistry, and I think his wife is into chemistry as well. And I'd always wondered what the guy actually has the title of doctor in chemistry. And I've always wondering why someone who has a doctorate in chemistry is doing as a storage engineer, because he's a storage engineer on my team. And yeah, that explains that, I guess. That
so chemistry is a combination of mathematics and physics, and also includes biology. So like Ibra said, mechanical engineering is the father of all engineering. Chemistry is the father of all sciences. So you have everything of everything in chemistry. So if you're a chemist, you can do pretty much anything you want.
Very good. Very interesting.
Yeah, just have one question.
Okay, thank you very much, Frank. Sorry, someone was saying something then.
Yeah, just have one question. So in my field, there's a gap between what the university teaches us and what you actually get in the industry itself.
Yeah.
How does that compare to your kind of field? Like, in terms of, is the university's kind of level neck and neck with what the industry requires?
I don't think that's It can be, no. In any job you go to, you get training in what that company does.
Yeah.
So basically the university gives you the basics, the building blocks. So they'll give you, for example, in chemistry, you do like 5 modules, and the company you work for might be using just one of those modules, but in depth. So they will train you. The advantage of chemistry and maybe physics is there's a lot of practical work. So you do a full year, your 4th year is full of practical chemistry. So in most cases, your project kind of dictates what kind of, if you choose to go with what kind of work, then you'll be neck and neck, because you've done a full year of a project in organic chemistry, and you're going to an organic compound making company. So it will be the same. Obviously, you will gain more experience. You'll be shown more chemical compounds which you've never been faced with, and then you figure out how to isolate them, how to purify them. But yeah, no, the thing is, what we need to know is the degree gives you a foundation, then you use the foundation and the knowledge and the skills to sell yourself to employers. And then they'll teach you wherever you go, basically. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's fine.
I've got another question as well for Frank.
On Faisal.
In your years as an undergrad, did you take a year off for some professional experience during your degree? Did you take a placement year for?
No, and I think that's something I regret, and that's something that this kind of session will be good for. These sessions will tell students, if you go to university, make sure you get an internship. Make sure you do a placement. I personally didn't do that. My course didn't offer me that, but if I'm to do my course again, I'll do it with an industrial placement.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that purely for the practical aspect of what you do?
It's purely for the practical aspect, but also people want someone who's worked before, someone who's, you basically can show that you've been told, you can be told to do something and do it properly. You've been shown, you've had some hands-on experience in that field. Most employers would prefer a student or someone, a graduate who has worked on anything. It doesn't necessarily need to be in the field, but you need to prove that you can work as a team, you can work on your own, you can be given a task and finish it. So it's an advantage to do a placement. And this is something I would encourage people to tell their children. And this is why it would be good if you had more people here to let them know that doing the 4-year degree does not guarantee you a job at the end of it if you have no experience.
Yeah.
But the good thing is we're recording the session, so the message will get there. Yes.
I think that's really, really important about getting experience that Mr. Frank has mentioned. Some of courses that we did, they have experience built in. So for us, we're a bit lucky, perhaps. People really underlook the fact that the existence of UCOMM is in itself an opportunity for young people to volunteer, because if you volunteer for an organization, it doesn't matter whether they pay you or not. If you had the fact that you were volunteer in UCOMM on your CV before you apply to university or before you apply for a job, it would actually stand you in better stead than somebody who's got a university degree. So it's very, very important to get experience. And I would encourage young people, I noticed that Shaima is online, to really volunteer for organizations like UCOMM. It doesn't matter, do something for UCOMM, do any activity, because it will widen your CV and you'll be a better candidate at university, even if all the other candidates got A+ or whatever the equivalent is. The fact that you've got experience puts you in a better stead.
Yeah, in the interviews as well, it's interesting. Interviews, there are some different styles that the interviewer could assume. So when you get one who drills you, you would want them to talk about what you have done. And most likely, in most cases, that's what that's what actually happens. Everybody's going to be, the interviewer is going to be like, so You don't have anything on your, on your experience. So let's talk about the modules that you enjoyed the most. And they would just say, okay, tell us the module you enjoyed the most at university. And then they ask you stuff about what you enjoyed the most at university. So if you've been out of university and been looking for a job for some time, and let's say you are not fresh in your knowledge is not as fresh as it should be, then you will struggle. However, if you have worked on something, you always have something to talk about in an interview, and you're more composed, because practical knowledge, is not the same as theoretical knowledge. Theoretical knowledge, when you're explaining something theoretical, you always have to be right on the dot. But with practical, you just say, I did this. And then all they can do is that, do you think that's the best way you could have done it? And then you can go all around it, find a way of talking about it. But and another thing, some companies are funny. My boss, for example, at TalkTalk, he said, I wanted to hire somebody before they got corrupted with practice with by another company. So that also happens, but it's very rare. But
that is very rare. You're right. I think my first opportunity was almost like that, and I think I'm one of those people who can give a very good example of having struggled because I didn't go through something like an internship or something that gives you practical experience, because I self-studied while I was doing something completely different. So I was in the catering field, studying IT and self-studying at home. So no practical knowledge anywhere. So going through interviews, trying to convince people that I'm good in IT was very, very difficult to get my first job. To an extent that I would sometimes present my CV that has all these IT qualifications, but my experience is in catering, and then you have someone saying, you're overqualified, I can't give you the job that you want. But I'm only going for this job because it is a first step into IT, and I'm desperate to get in and put that on my CV for the next one, but I wouldn't even get that. So it's a very, very massive point to get the experience and be able to talk about the practicality of what you're trying to get into. And that's very, very good advice for our young people going forward, because really it took me a very, very long time to get into IT with all my qualifications. So thanks for sharing all. Don't know if there's any more hands up or questions from anyone. We'll pause for a bit and see if people can get off mute. Nope, sounds like we're good. So that's all our speakers. Thank you very much all for participating and for all those that have attended. I think there's a lady who dropped a few minutes ago, and she thanked us for the session. And looking forward for next time. We still have Niger on, and Shaima. Thank you very much for attending. I don't know, closing remarks from anyone? Chair, do you want to give us closing remarks? I think we've come to the end. I'm hoping we have anyway.
I think I've enjoyed the session. Our speakers have all been excellent. Absolutely.
I have as well, yeah.
Wonderful. I think we probably could, each of these speakers could give a 1 or 2 hour session in there, and just on their own, giving
Indeed,
us a journey from age 12 all the way to the end. So we hope to hold more sessions like this, and I hope they participate. I think the challenge now for our speakers is to put together a program of encouraging mentoring young people. So how do we access the information on YouTube? How do I go to Ibrahim and say, you know what, I want to spend a week with you learning about software engineering? So I think that is the challenge going forward, and I hope we'll be able to do these sessions very, very soon. We are also going to be holding sessions in other professions. So, I mean, for example, I'm a pharmacist. I'm quite happy to give a session on how you become a pharmacist. I've seen Halima's on there. She's an optician. So maybe she could give us a session on how you become an optician here in England. And I think we also need to find out what can we do with all this knowledge to better our countries back in Uganda, particularly now that we can work from home, and what contributions can we do for Africa, to our African brothers and sisters. And I think that's where we should be engineering the next services. I just want to thank Alan for hosting. Sorry, I've been on the move. I'm still on the move, and we'll hope to see you in a couple of weeks with our next sessions. Please do email in to office@ucom.org.uk with any questions, and then we can pass you on to, or we can try and answer your questions, or we'll pass you on to the right contact. Thank you very much, and have a very good afternoon, very good weekend.
Thanks, Chair. Thank you very much, and thanks all for attending. I think that brings us to the end. Very good remarks. I won't add any more. So thanks, everyone.
Would you like to know whose iPad and whose iPhone? They might have anything to say.
I didn't hear that.
I think we have. Oh yeah, there's a someone who came in as an iPad and another one who came in as an iPhone.
Something, they can say something if they want to ask a question. Just introduce themselves to know that they were on here. That'd be good.
They don't realize they're on mute.
It's okay. It's okay. Madame Naiga, thank you very much for joining us for the session. And like the chair said, maybe you can give us a session in your field in the near future. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it, guys. We'll cut it there. Yeah, I'll let our secretary deal with the recording side of stuff and whatever we can download and upload later. Thank you, and have enjoy the rest of the day and the rest of the weekend.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.